yes, 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 yes. Oh, does that say we're live?
Yes.
The first Friday in 2022.
Hey,
Yo, what's going on, Mrs.
I'm alive for
Positivity?
real.
What is going on?
Nothing. I mean, I'm just thankful and excited and just just grateful for coming over the humps. We are over the hump. We are into the new. Hey,
How are you?
I always say it's a new year, but you still the same old you doing a new thing.
Yeah, for
I'm
real.
telling
For real.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, we good. We good.
Def-
Everything it's always, practice until it's perfect practice.
Correct.
So last year gave us everything we needed to learn.
Man,
It was more 2020, but it was like, okay, what you gonna do with it? So 2020, we here. We
Yep,
here.
we have
Yeah,
arrived.
we have. So excited to be with both of you today. I really, really am.
likewise.
I'm
Likewise.
excited. So well, brief introduction.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you're watching, you already know who I am. I'm Mrs. Tiffany, head Imaginarian of Imagiread. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Mrs. Positivity of Words Unite Bookstore. This chick is so gangster. She's like still at work, still hustling books.
Hey, we
Like
gotta do what we gotta do.
she like, I got 15 more minutes. Somebody gonna buy a book today.
Catch me after the video.
No, seriously. Because you know how we talked about how you be going to the gas station and you like, I'm hustling out my trunk. This is straight
Yeah,
master. Look,
tell
I'm
it
gonna
after
change her
that.
name to Miss Master Positivity. Miss
Yes,
Master P. Okay.
Nice.
Hustle the books out the truck, yo.
love it.
That's what's up. And today we have the honor. Now here's the thing. I can only do this because like I've worked with Mary so much. But honestly, when I'm describing, it's hard for me to describe her because she's so dope. So I'm gonna let her do that. We have the honor of being with Miss Miri Teresa. She about to be a doctor soon, y'all.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Miri Teresa. Thank you all for having me. I'm definitely glad to be a part and just connect with you all, see you all, and you know, get to know a little bit more about helping others and speaking a little bit of our truth for sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And so that's a really good segue into what this segment is. So we started it last year, Ashley and I, and we talked about it. It's like, okay, so when people, especially now during these, really bizarre times, it's a lot going on, right? And a lot of us are transforming. And so, what does it mean to be that which we speak, right? Well, it's showing up on purpose whole. And that requires, I know we think it's fancy and it's a couple quotes and a little bit of prayer, but it's actually work to get us there. And these features speak directly to, how we can embody the word in a way that really, really benefits who we are. And so it's meant to be positive, it's meant to be inspirational. And we talk with all kinds of people, mainly authors, publishers, and the like, but also individuals like look,
Influencer.
Marie. I've called her Mary forever. Like in my mind, yeah. So individuals like this sister who's done a whole gamut in the arts and outside of the arts. And it's really, really about community. And I thought, what better way to start off this year than really talking about community and how we show up for each other, right? Because that's what Imagiread has always been about. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm super excited. So I think Miss Positivity, I think I'm gonna let her dig into some of the questions
Yes,
first. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited. I'm excited. Listen, I don't know about y'all, but I jump. We got to leap into 2022,
we
and
do,
y'all know
right?
I always come with the energy. But like my lovely co-host just stated, you got to have that realistic conversation, that realistic aspect of so you think you want to be. So you think you want to be in whatever lane that you're in, and how are you attaching to making that want to be a reality. And so I'm super, super excited to have you online today because as I was researching and not, being able to speak to you um, before, I was moved by what I would see visually. And that's a big impact. Visually, we see the movement, we see the impact. And so, why did you start doing what you are doing now?
Oh wow. That's a good question. So, initially, like I've always grown up just knowing I want to help others. I used to work with my dad. He worked in the community, helping elderly, from bringing them groceries to changing their light bulbs. Though just little things. So it always inspired me to do the same. And then as I grew older, my dad passed, but my sister late not too long after created an organization, and I kind of assisted in the process, called Impact I Am the Movement. And that was where everything was born, if I say the least, to say the least.
Mhm.
We did community work, from helping apartments get electricity, like whole apartments, electricity, food, and everything. Talking to the mayor, really really activating the need for the community, the voice of what the community needed to speak. Because sometimes the vibrations aren't heard by individuals, but coming together, it's a mighty stampede that it kind of occurs. Um, and so that was like one of the major inspirations for, I guess, everything. It was like the seed that really equipped us to grow and, share and uh, dive into the Unmute Me, the Emmett's Art, the whole movement of making the change and doing it together.
Awesome, and that's beautiful. I heard you say, something inspired by um, a root in your family and your father showing you how it could happen and how you can do it. And so you're keeping that legacy alive. And so that is
Mhm.
super, super, super awesome and exciting. And then I love how I hope y'all caught that part where she talked about utilizing the representative, utilizing your officials that are in the positions to serve you in our difficulties. Most of the Texas disasters that we had, pandemic slash the freeze, there was globally a disaster zone or disaster or help assisted area was for most of those areas that needed assistance. And those representatives were key to making sure that each household was able to get represented. And I often see people complain or get left behind or become hopeless because they don't know how to get the help that they need. And they do need help, but a lot of us don't like to ask. And so, how do you help those that know they need help, but they probably don't think that they need help as much as somebody else does? How can we build that confidence to just ask for help? Because right now, there's no name, title, position that qualifies for help right now. Everyone needs it. It don't matter what kind
Right.
of car you're driving. It doesn't matter what kind of job title you have. Everyone has been of a need within everything that has happened. So how do you kind of help those build that confidence and communicate to those that are feeling hopeless right now?
That's a really good question. I have a story, if to say the least, about that specific thing. I think after Hurricane Harvey, as a organization called Emmett's Art, we came together and decided to, because we heard, so many devastating stories with artists coming, just talking, sharing it on Facebook about things they lost, about different paintings that, just were ruined from the water, from the flooding, and, just the whole nine. And so me and my team, we got together with a fellow, I think like a venue or a bar up north. I can't remember the name of it, but we had this relief party for artists, and we had art. We connected with Jerry's Autorama and just got paint, got canvases, just all this material. And the crazy thing was, not that many people showed up. And a lot of artists, when I had asked them like, hey, what happened, what's going on, or I had the supplies, I had equipment, I had something to equip you or help you further, and they were like, well, I don't need it as much. There were other people that died, and I didn't think that I was somebody, even though I lost some work, I didn't think I needed it. And one thing that I'll tell anybody is that sometimes we have to recognize that we can't do this alone. It's not about necessarily, oh, there's a maximum need that I feel is greater or less than anybody, but there's a connection that may need to be made. There's something that somebody may need to put into your hands to get to their next level. So that's why it's important to be open in certain areas. And I learned that a lot myself because there were so many seasons where I too was someone that didn't think I needed help, but recognized that there can be so much more done if done together. So I would always say, just keep in mind it's okay to work together, and it's not so much your need, but the need of the community to expand and be greater and bigger together. So that's kind of what I would say for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's so impactful because if you think about a tree, every part of the tree has its own purpose from the roots to the trunk to the branches to the leaves. And that's how we kind of explain it when, we're trying to collaborate and connect and stand strong together. You are not alone. You can ask for help and you don't have to be condemned by it. You don't have to be ashamed of it. Every aspect of a person in 2021 slash 2022 slash 2019 through now, as everything that we have overcome, everybody's in the same boat. We're all on the same ship, trying to sail together. And I really hope that's a good takeaway for everyone that's listening today. Everybody in this room right now putting their hands to the plow, doing their part, doing their gift. And so that's very, very important. And thank you for sharing that. I also wanted to ask, like, do you create art as well?
You're
You're
on mute, babe.
mute.
Sorry about that. I actually do. I have a few pieces behind me. This is my Lion King, uh, I guess, collection, and just a few different other ones. I feel like the art that I create is really more therapeutic and just expressive of like internal things, and it also helped me realize that the power of starting something and being able to see a finished product really helped me realize like, hey, it's literally every step helps to create the next one, helps to unravel what you're really trying to see done in life.
Yeah, so she's a finisher, y'all, and
Hmm.
that's why I wanted to ask that question because I've talked to many artists, and I love the world of art because you might have a project in your head and you're starting, but that finishing product is what really, really inspires you to put that paintbrush back to the canvas, or put that
Mhm.
pencil back to the paper, or put that pencil back to the paper to write, or whatever it is that you are doing. It really gives you that energy to do it again and to
Right.
recreate and to connect and collaborate. And so don't give up would be my message for that. I love what you are doing with the artistry, and any other person that's listening right now. That's the key. Focus on one thing, finish that, and then you can continue to progress from there. Wouldn't y'all agree?
Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Finish your work. We talked about that in future literacy, and just in general. I think this has a lot to do about our mental faculty, and sometimes we have a lot of goals, we have a lot of ideas, we can be hyper creative, but it's very important to start and finish.
Hmm.
Very important. Very important.
Definitely, and I feel like if you leave those open gaps, that's what really makes us get overwhelmed. When you have
Hmm.
one project and then it turns into 100 projects because you got a whole bunch of unfinished business, but all you had to do was finish, one and then two and then three. instead of leaving all 100. You're just doing a little bit of all 100 of the pieces, but you haven't completed one, and that's very, very overwhelming. And I don't think people talk about that enough. Most people have great skills and are very, very talented, but that overwhelming factor of starting something and not being able to finish, or having so many things still open, can really frustrate you and make you want to, just tap out. That's at least
Yeah.
for me. For me, when I have like 100 different places to go and not enough time, or only one chapter written and a bunch of ideas about the whole concept, and I just leave that project alone and go finish four other projects, but I still got that project to do. That's very overwhelming, and it makes me not go back to that because it's not finished. But if maybe you spread it out and do it day by day, and that's what we talked about in a couple of our videos last year about reading and advancing literacy. Um, you just have to do it every day. You just got to practice every day. You got to put time to it every
Mhm.
day, or not every day. Like we do this once a month. Put a time schedule to those different projects of when you're going to put um, time into it. And so I wanted to ask you, like, how do you make your schedule and how do you gauge your impact?
That's a good question. Um, as an artist, initially before I actually started becoming public with it, I thought it's funny how you recognize that you need to actually take the time to finish, because one thing, I guess a saying that many artists say is, "My work is never finished." Like any painting that I have, it's always a work in progress. But that mindset sometimes gives us the feeling that we're never ready to share, never ready to express, or never ready to present it to the world because it's not finished yet. And so I, even if I talk to my fellow artists or fellow people in general, sometimes having the thought process creates the need to have action behind those thoughts. It can get finished if we incorporate the actions that each thought equips us to finish something with, per se. But interesting enough, the way I measure I guess measure what I do is by connecting with those that I impact, or connecting with those and seeing how their journey is going as well. Because Image Art, we're an organization that helps other artists, helps other performers, or other artistries, whether it's music or art, or just different components of art, was visual, performing. We really just push and see where their thought process is, seeing if we are actually equipping the thoughts that they have and bringing them into action. So I'm always typically checking to see, like, how are those that I'm connecting with, where are they at? I know it's not always about others, but it is about how we collectively impact somebody else. How do
Mhm.
we help them unmute their story? How do we
Mhm.
help them, write their story, or create, or finish it, or even get it in the process of from one point to the next? I know I don't necessarily have like a B, C, or D scale, but I do have like a how was I this year compared to last year? Or how were
Mhm.
they this year compared to last year? Doing those self comparisons from each individual, seeing their progress, seeing my progress, and just, reflecting sometimes, like, what was I doing a year ago? What was I doing 2 months ago? Am I making a difference from that day? Am I doing a self reflection? Am I equipping other people to not necessarily look at others, but look at themselves and recognize their growth? And that's really one of the bigger things, is doing that individual comparison, and just making sure that it's progressive.
For sure, for sure. Like self reflection is definitely key, and
Mhm.
communicating that. I heard you say, you check with others. When you're doing that, that's accountability, and a lot
Mhm.
of us don't want to take accountability for those unopened tasks or those not closed goals. But sometimes it's good to say, "Didn't I hear you say you were going to open up a business in 2 years?" It's okay to say
Mhm.
what happened to that project, what happened to that goal. because then you can discuss, well, certain things may not have lined up. The pandemic happened. That's not a good idea for me right now. Um, where will I get the capital from? But you get to have those discussions, and you get to gauge the pros and cons of why those things didn't happen. So you don't think of it as a failure. You just think of it as, well, I didn't put my energy into that, but it opened doors for me to go this way. And then, like you said, talking to other people, how's it working for you? How do you better gauge? Just like me and Tiffany were talking. Now we're going over the grants that I was going after last year. But like I said, I'm going to reapply for every single one that I didn't get. You know, even
Mm-hmm.
though I may have gotten a lot of no's, even though we may have not gotten every award or every opportunity that we went for last year, those opportunities are still available for this year. It's a reoccurring thing. Do you
Mm-hmm.
stop because you got to know last year? If you do, then you don't really put yourself up for success. You can go after it again and again until you
To get
achieve
it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
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 So
Yep.
yes, yes, you gotta be a forward thinker. You gotta be resilient, resiliency in business, resiliency in efforts. Keeping, like you said, make your voice heard, um, and communicating. If it don't help, if you can't get help from your neighbor, you can't get help from the city official. Then you gotta go to the state, and if you can't get it
Mm-hmm.
from the state, you gotta go nationally. Like, how far are you going to make your voice heard to get the results that you need? And I think a lot of us get overwhelmed by the action part, but I'm telling you, knock on enough doors, then you get the results that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Good.
Awesome. So, what is your passion connected to the veteran community? Because I am a U.S. Army veteran,
Thank
and
you for your service.
yeah, it was a pleasure to serve. And what were you, Tiffany?
I'm not. I'm not even. I'm not a veteran.
You're not a veteran as well. Okay. But you
Mm-mm.
connected to my veteran sisters because that's how we met. We
I
met.
mean, it's crazy. I'm always connected to the veteran community, and I'm like, really crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, I met Tiffany through one of my veteran sisters. And she's like, you definitely have to talk to Tiffany.
Oh,
And we
nice.
clicked
Of course.
on that platform. And so that's kind of how it works. And so I'm excited because I saw a lot of the different impactful things that you do for the veteran community. So, how can we get acquainted with that offer, that resource?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a army brat. Both of my parents were in the army for 15, 20 years. And so watching my parents grow up, well, through as I grew up, just recognizing their what do I call it? Recognizing how they moved and what was necessarily needed, made me start working, of course, with my sister. That's also a heavy partner in what I do. We decided to start Map Keepers. It's Map Keepers Day. And that was in honor of my dad. His birthday's on the November 7th. So, of course, that's around Veterans Day.
Right.
Um, and so we had already worked with them, doing art therapies and things like that, just because I felt like that was something that could help in the long run for other veterans. And I was like, just talking to them through things, and just seeing, sometimes expressing yourself or having somewhere to communicate what you're thinking, or have somebody to listen, was something that I recognize veterans sometimes need, because they tell their war stories, and I'm interested because I'm listening. Like I was born after the Desert Storm, so I'm always like, okay, yeah, I know 1992, I know that one. Well, 1991, I know that one for sure. So just seeing the process, seeing experiences, and of course, some are bittersweet, some are still inspirational. But that's one of the reasons why we uncovered the Map Keepers Day. To really, I actually got a grant from the city the first year, to share with the community what veterans actually experience. Like a lot of times, the public or civilians feel as though it's one of those, I can't believe people kill people on the other side, or that's what they kind of look at war as, bombs, just different things like that. But I started to share with them through art and through therapeutic processes and community murals and interactions with veterans. I have a lot of veteran supports that they actually come to the events, help create, communicate, talk about their experiences, and it really unravels or unveils what veterans do, what veterans did, how they impacted it in positive ways. The slogan that we say is in honor of those who fought for our right to breathe. Because, I mean, to be honest, we don't have to go outside and see bombs or, or people shooting at us. Unless, situations happen, but there are some that do, but it's because of our veterans. It's because of all the different armed forces that came together and decided to go out and leave their families to fight or to protect or to learn how to do those things when the time comes. And so every year, well, every month we try to do something with our veterans. Usually it's digitally, I guess for the last year, but when COVID first started, we did have a place where veterans can safely have their, I mean, do art therapy. And so annually, it's November 7th, where we actually honor them, recognize them, sometimes get recognition from the city, and just give them their flowers. So
Awesome. Well, I got a lot of veterans in Houston, and I don't know if I told you this before, but I am from Houston, so I grew up area
awesome.
in Dairy Ashford, A-Leaf area, and
Okay.
so anything Houston is, right up my alley. My whole family still lives in that area, so I'm definitely looking forward to connecting with you soon. And I have a lot of veterans in that area, and I look forward to coming down there and collaborating. Especially, I just wrote down that date. It's very, very key to give back. And like you said, when it comes to volunteering, one for service members, that's our life. We're volunteering to
Mhm.
sacrifice our life for this
Right.
country. And then for those who do nonprofits and do service activities, you're volunteering, to serve that community when you could just stay at home and do nothing. You could live your own
Right.
life, live your best life without connecting with anyone. But how fulfilling is that? And so for all those that are watching, I highly suggest that you really, really think about, reflect on why you're doing that service, why you're activating that service, because it's a huge sacrifice. But don't let it um, take you out of your norm, take you out of your character, and then do it with others. You don't have to do all this stuff alone.
Right.
Like it's been said today, you got to collaborate, and collaboration with mighty voices. Many, many, many steps, many, many, many feet, many, many, many bodies standing together. That's something that cannot be ignored. And
Mhm.
so I get very, very excited because as a traveling bookstore, I bring all authors together on one platform. And so I
Awesome.
can reach one audience with my books, but I realized that's the only person that's going to get my book for today. But there was a whole crowd of people who had different lifestyles and different things that they needed. And so bringing other authors with different messages kind of helped fulfill the need and provide a real resource. And so that's what we have to do in the art world, in the creativity world, especially
Mhm.
for our youth. You gotta ignite the passion. And how are you igniting that passion? Are you igniting that passion through activities like you do? Are you igniting that passion through, hey, beautiful, through reading, through books, through authorship, through helping your neighbor, through providing the resources, through helping your veterans? What are we supporting? And so that's so much amazing information. And thank you for everything that you're doing. You got anything else you would like to share with the community?
Honestly, I'm just grateful to have organizations like Imagiread, like the World Book Start, sorry, like your bookstore, and just people that collectively want to advance. And so I want to thank you all for allowing me to be a part and just, join you on this journey of sharing, of connecting, and really getting an understanding for what we're collectively doing in different phases and different arenas, genres, and things like that is great and inspiring to see those on different levels for sure, or different areas.
Exactly. And I want y'all to remember, look at all three of our rooms. We're not coming to you in a pretty room. I'm
Right.
I'm coming to you still at work. I'm still at my store. One of
Mhm.
y'all both look like y'all are at your house. You don't have to get all dressed up. You don't have to make it all up. The realistic thing of us doing what we're doing is we're real people doing real stuff, reaching real, making real impacts. And so, try to go into 2022 being genuine, and don't try to overextend yourself outside of your character. Yes, we get dolled up and cute because I got some photos of me cute, okay? And I'm cute right now too. We all are cute and beautiful right now as well. But I love how we came authentically ourselves today. And I
Yeah.
really, really hope people take that away, that being in business does not mean you have to have this perfect environment to do it. Being artistic, being creative, being any kind of arena of profession does not mean you have to have a perfect space. It just means that you have to bring you, because you are the one that is needed for that service and for that resource. And you have to remember that. You have to not feel like you got to have the whole business to present. Can you provide a service? Yes. Then provide the service where you are, doing it how you can, using your resources. You don't have to have everything together. And so y'all know I mean, well, Tiffany know. I can keep going with the positivity, like, but I really,
Love
really
it.
don't
That's
want
her
us
name.
I don't want us to start 2022 really doubting ourselves and like making too many high standards where we cannot accommodate. We're this is the first week into 2022. Really, really, really evaluate how you want to execute in this year. But do not execute. You need to execute, but don't execute with so many rules and so many perceptions. Just do it like you're doing it right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. Yeah, that takes us into one of the last things that I wanted to talk about in terms about perfection. And don't get me wrong, just like you said, Ash, it's great that, a lot of us are dolled up and we're doing our thing, because beauty and presentation is important. But at the end of the day, if we're shooting for impact, then we should shoot for impact on purpose, right? So
Right.
when we do that, we feel better about our contribution. We finish our work. We do all of those things that we previously talked about. And I wanted to just bring up briefly, if we can, I know it may be impossible, the unmute me movement, because it really ties in everything that we've discussed today, and how, we have to do better about our word. I recognized last year there was a lot that I wanted to do for the community. And because I'm such an advocate for community, I serve constantly to the point where I had to realize that I was just overdoing it. I was doing way too much for a lot of people. And although it hurt me to just scale back and start boundaries and, start, okay, I can't do that. It made me all the better because I realized that a lot of it was, of course, my own suffering, my own challenges with oppression and suppression, and wanting better relationships and better community to be a thing, and wanting everybody to get help, but feeling as if I was the only one. So, Unmute Me is a movement that Miri leads that is really, really powerful, because what it says is, during the pandemic, everybody was Zooming, right? And just like, this evening, it was like, oops, you're on mute. It's we subconsciously mute ourselves in so many ways that we need to be more aware of that, albeit, linguistically, um, uh, linguistic discrimination is real, and this is literacy specific. So you are judged on how well you speak or not, right? How well you read or not. And that's something that I've been fighting forever. Also, you're judged on just your ability to show up and present, right? Because so much of what we do on a daily basis is about performance and about perfection. And we need to really just rid ourselves of that. So I loved when Mary launched Unmute Me, because it just said, listen, you have the power to say and be whatever you want, but just take yourself off mute. So wanted her to just talk about that for a little bit, because that's also energy that I would like for everyone to embody in 2022. Just start where you are, begin where you are. So what can we offer, our listeners, our viewers about Unmute Me?
So the Unmute Me project was so fun to experience it and see the process. One thing that I can definitely share is there comes a time where you have to recognize what you're saying to yourself. I know some people talk about, talking to yourself and things like that. But when is it relevant for you to listen to where you want to be and actually act on it? A lot of times there's so many things going on, so many situations that you'll silence your own dreams, you'll silence your own passions, you'll silence your own desires to go out and make that happen simply because everybody else is speaking over you. So this book was a opening to not only me equipping others to speak their truth, but also equipping myself to say, hey, it's time to speak up with everything you have within you. um, Growing up, I was always told, write in your journal because, it's how you express yourself, it's how you let it out. And so I actually started, I came to Tiff and said, hey, so I have a book, but I need help speaking it. I need help releasing it and understanding how to like mold it into a book. I have words, I have a message. How do I go to the next one? And when I tell you, she gave me the keys and said, here, let's drive it. Let's go. And so, I mean, that was how the Unmute Me was born. It was the movement, the book. It was painting the voice of change, recognizing that when you speak your voice and you connect it with others, others will help you magnify that. And it started with a book, and some paintings that I created. It was the initial one was in black and white, and then I expanded it into a journal where the pictures are color and there's places for others to write within that journal. And my thing through that was always recognizing that, when I'm telling a story, you're seeing half of the story. But then when you start to dissect and understand what I'm saying, and you start to write about what you're understanding, now you start to see the picture unfold. You start to see the color, you start to see the inspiration, you start to see how you can equip yourself to do it, because now you're actively unmuting yourself. You're recognizing, oh, let me unmute myself. I am kind of silent. Let me say something now. And then you start to see the bigger picture. So that's the Unmute Me project. That is the Unmute Me project.
Yeah, and it's really it's a phenomenal project. I will say that, not just because I had the pleasure and the honor of working with, like, from start to finish. I have to say that it was easy to work. Like, when you love what you do, like, regardless of all the pressures, it's no, I really wanted to see it grow into what it's grown into. And I always tell her, like, how proud of her I am, because, you know, as with most authors that I work with, it's like, just if you do what I tell you to do, it's going to work out. Like, just do what I tell you to do. Follow up, finish your work, right? So, and that's because I believe in it. I see the vision, and I'm like, absolutely, this is so you. So we were able to actually get both books out. I put the information here. It's on the MiriTeresa.com/shop. Beautiful work. Seriously, I can't wait till you carry it at Words Unite. Seriously,
Come
there's,
on, join the bookstore.
like,
Yes, ma'am.
I
Look,
cannot
I'm
wait.
on my
I
way.
can't wait. Like, you're gonna love it. I mean, workshops can be created, all kinds of everything that you can imagine in terms of creative and artistic, even from the journaling perspective. Like, you can really, it's a cathartic experience for you to say, whoa, where have I been muting myself? Maybe, here I am thinking I am vocal, but am I really showing up? So when we're talking about, so you think you want to be that, and this is motivation month, it's what exactly are we motivated to do, and does that align with who we are and our values? It just because we can do something doesn't mean we should.
We
So
should.
we're asking ourselves, right, those real questions, like, okay, you know what, this is great, but this would fulfill me more. This will make me feel really, really good about my contribution. So the work is phenomenal. The work is phenomenal. Got another one of our authors joining us. Hey, Doc. It's just good to it's good to have these conversations, especially with sisters, just because this is where we are. Like we said, 2022, we coming for it. We ain't
Yes.
leaving nothing on the table.
Girl, I just
You
got
know.
chills because we have a African American history and arts showcase in February.
Hmm.
So yeah, I definitely need to link up with you, Miri, uh,
Yes.
after
Absolutely.
we discuss, so that way you can get your books in the store, because I think that would be a great platform to introduce your books to my audience, and then get you distributed. But I mean, you're a finisher, and I'm so super excited and
Hmm.
proud of you and everything that you're doing. Um, that's amazing. Like from start to finish, you reached out to someone else. You asked them about, hey, I got this project, but I don't know how to format it. I don't know how to put it together. But you used your resources to make a complete project that has expanded. You said it was black and white first. Like, people don't. I tell people this all the time. They start their project, and we just want to finish it, or we want to get it done, and then you elevate that project. And I heard you say that has turned from a black and white book to a colored journal. Like, you can continuously evolve in that world,
Yeah.
especially with us as creatives. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you more about your book. And y'all need to shop online, like right now, and get a copy of her book, so y'all are not just hearing about what we're talking about. Y'all know what we're talking about, because you'll have her book in your hand, and I can't wait to get it in mine.
Totally, totally. And in addition to her shop, for sure, make sure you are following Words Unite. Here's the thing: I've said this for a long time. When I first started out, I'd written and self published my first children's book, and here I prancing into the community like, oh, we should read together more as a family, and that's where I noted my privilege. I didn't account for those who were functionally illiterate and or struggling and reluctant. And that's what changed my focus. And that's what got me on the road to fighting illiteracy at every turn. So I say this all the time, we can raise better readers, but we also have to do our due diligence by creating and publishing quality literacy and literature for them to read and indulge in. This is about legacy. It's always been about legacy. So, yeah, we can have readers, but we have to give them more of what we would like for them to read so they can feel good about sharing their story, because we all have a story no matter what. So I'm
Exactly.
excited about you two linking, and just really, really excited for taking the time today. Wondering, did I miss anything? There's so much more to talk about, honestly. But,
Right. Yeah.
it's like, what else can we, what else? Anything
I
you
did.
have?
I did want to ask everybody how y'all are feeling about the children's books getting banned with the cultural diversity issue, and how we could project a positive light into that.
Mm,
Hmm.
well, that's loaded. And I'll say this
Hmm.
much. Banned books, banned books have always been a thing,
Hmm.
right? Many, many years ago, when I started researching the privatization of libraries, this is where I started looking at and I started making some connections when we're talking about public library system versus general public and how we have access. And once 9/11 came, it just things really got locked down. So, there were laws that say, hey, we can even, check to see what you're renting, right? What you're leasing from the library. And that became scary because, granted, yeah, if you're building a bomb or something, I suppose you go to the library. However, at the end of the day, what you read and the information you consume, uh, really should be personal and private. It's there for your own learning, your own knowledge, and to want to monopolize and control that is a systemic issue. This is where I've always said, as independent authors, our due diligence is to make sure that we are still creating what we need to create, and we're finding alternative means to distribute, much like Words Unite,
Yeah.
much like our own websites, and going beyond our websites, we'll talk. We talk about having our own cloud infrastructure, our own servers, right? Because it's still our information and it still lives in their cloud. But for now, using the means that we have, the resources that we have to publish and distribute independently, and share amongst each other and support the sharing is how we'll ensure that the stories that we're telling are still out there, you know? Um, again, it's layer, and there's some other things that I want to say socio-politically, but I don't, again, want to, there's a lot of sensitivity because some people believe certain things.
Right.
But I just think we should never, ever limit knowledge, ever, ever, and we have got to stop this one way, one example, one imagery thing. We have got to stop that because that is oppressive. The very thing that we are fighting so hard to not oppress our people, to not suppress, to not repress. Again, this is all contributing to our depression. We have got to stop doing this. This is how we prevent healthy actualization. So it's something we're going to have to keep forging against. We're going to have to keep raging the machine, but we do that together, and we just do that by we keep creating stories. Like that's
There
what we
we
do.
go. There we go. Keep
Yeah,
the history alive. Keep creating.
yeah. Keep creating. Seriously. Um. Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
all.
definitely agree with you in recognizing our freedoms, and it's tough when you see certain things limited when it's informing us of every of certain things. And at the end of the day, I mean, you should be able to choose what you can and can't take in per se. So I agree with that for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do not get discouraged with everything that's going on. Like Tiffany said, it's been going on for years, for decades, for centuries. But this is just another phase of it, and we can continue to share our stories.
Yeah. We must. We must.
Absolutely.
We must. I am like overwhelmed. This is just a perfect Friday. The wind down. This is awesome, ladies.
Absolutely.
Can't say enough. You have got to please, 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 one of the things that I was trying to do over the holidays was just buy books. That's always going to be the perfect gift, albeit a child, albeit an adult. It doesn't matter. Buy books. Even in terms of pets, I know a lot of people have pets. Buy books and read to your pet. There
Mhm.
are so many therapeutic benefits from just reading, not just mentally, but emotionally and physically. The data is there, the research is there. Support authors, bookshop owners. If you're buying books from the author, I know it can be difficult because some of us are just like breeze readers like myself, so you just read a lot and you forget. But if you buy a book and you like it, review it. Tell somebody about it.
Mhm.
We have a program going on right now called I Read and Share 2022, where we're just giving away free postcards for young people, adults even, to just, get the postcards, drop a postcard in the mail to a family or a friend and say, hey, I'm reading this right now. I love this book. Hey, you should check this book out. Hey, I just went and got this book from my favorite bookstore called, it's a way to start a conversation about what's going to be read this year. And what it does is it moves us out of this space of depending on technology. So it helps us to say, okay, I'm going to go to the mailbox. I'm going to get some exercise. I'm going to walk to the mailbox. I'm going to drop it in. I'm going to see how long it takes to get there. It's an adventure, right? And once that person gets it, maybe they'll send you a postcard back and say, hey, I checked out the title of the book and it sounds pretty interesting. Did you like it? And so we get into that exchange, and that holds us accountable for reading everything that we say that we're going to read in 2022. So I just encourage everyone to continue to support independent authors, continue to support independent bookstores, especially those that are women owned, veteran owned, um, just to continue to be there for each other. It's community is very important, very important. So it's been grand, ladies. Did I miss anything? Look.
Oh, ma'am, I think we topped it off now.
Okay, okay. Well, we will be, like Mrs. Positivity said, so gracious to do this every first Friday of the month. Our next episode, I believe, is February 7th
So
again.
it should be the 7th again.
Yeah, yeah, because January and February do that. And that is going to be a treat. I can't even tell everybody like what that one is, but February is going to be a really good month. And I'm so glad that, yeah, like Miri was able to join us for this month. She's the perfect role model for motivation because she gets done. But we'll be here every month, every first Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So yeah, thank you, ladies. Thank you all.
Thank y'all for joining us and happy New Year. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get
Hey,
it.
thank y'all for having me. Definitely look forward
Awesome.
to seeing the future ones.
Yes, indeed.
I'll
Yes,
be tuned
indeed.
in.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Take care.
All right,
Later.
peace.